Okay, so mahalo again for joining us. Today we are lucky to have some of our past Kūlia Kapiʻolani nursing alumni here to share their experiences that they had at Kapiʻolani Community College. You guys all know me, I'm Puna S, the coordinator for Kūlia Kapiʻolani. And then also, we're lucky to have Michaelyn. Michaelyn, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I know mostly everyone, but actually not everyone on here. So I'm Michaelyn N. I'm the coordinator for the Kapiʻolani program, and we are kind of the general program for Native Hawaiian student success on campus. So work definitely close with Puna and the Kūlia program to help students succeed, his specifically for career and technical ed. And I'm just here to support and kind of learn also because we would like to refer more students or get support in the pre-nursing area because it's we know it's a high source of stress and anxiety for our students, and we want to gather all the kind of information and experiences you guys have had to help support them get through. So I'm excited we're doing this, and I will be quiet the rest. No, I probably won't be quiet the rest of the time, but I'll mute for now.
Thank you. I don't have any PowerPoints because I want to make this as informal and as possible and make it more of a real kind of top story session. But I guess we can start off by introducing ourselves. Can we start off with the panel? Does anybody want to volunteer to introduce themselves first from the panel?
I can start. Hello, everybody. My name is Alana. I'm a registered nurse now, and I work at Kaiser. And I went to KCC and had the support of Kūlia, and it was amazing. And I'm currently at UH Manoa working on my BSN, and I graduate in May. And I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, thank you. Wait, before the next person come, I wanted to change this up a little bit because I want it to be, oh wait, not this. There. I wanted to play around for a little bit, so make it a little bit informal. We can just, I don't know, this is fun for me. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Can we move ourselves or no?
I have to move you. Okay. Do we have somebody else from the panel that want to go next? Just share a little bit about your pathway, or kind of like what Alana did, and then where you are now, and if you're working, where you're working.
I'll go.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brittany. So I started off going to the KCC EMT program, thought I wanted to become a paramedic, and decided to go into nursing. I went through the CNA program at KCC, and then I started working as a CNA, and now I'm in HPU, the BSN program. I'll be done next year in May. Yeah. And yeah, I'm working like 3 different jobs.
Awesome. Wow. Anybody else want to go next? Or who wants to go next?
I'm Marissa. I went to KCC, got into the nursing program there, and I am an RN too. And I'm graduating with my BSN this semester from UH Manoa.
Nice, congratulations. And Tia.
Hi, I'm Tia. I went to KCC and I got my prereqs done for nursing, thinking I was going to go to KCC's program and then transfer to UH. But I took the ATIs test and I passed it. I applied for the program and I got waitlisted. So I applied for UH and HPU and Chaminade. I got accepted to Chaminade and I ended up there. So I'm over there now in my first semester. And I work part-time at Castle Hospital as patient access and admitting.
All right, thank you. Now we can give a chance to our Haumana to introduce themselves. Leilani, you want to start off?
Sure. So I'm Leilani. I'm at KCC. I actually am finishing my pharmacology class to end my corex, and I hate the T's. Like, seriously. And I'm just kind of exploring what options I have, because I don't want to be one of those people waiting 3 years just to get into a program.
And Chastity.
Hi everyone, I'm Chastity. I am just starting my prereqs for nursing at KCC. I am looking towards my BSN. And yeah, I just want to know how you guys actually work and go to school full time.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I guess we can start off then. Let's start off with, do you guys have any questions? I mean, yeah, we could start off with questions. Chastity or Leilani, you guys want to ask a question to our panel?
What made you folks, okay, so like Tia says she took Shamina because they accepted her, but what got everyone else to take their classes at that particular college?
For me, I originally wanted to go to the KCC ADN program. I tried twice, but it was very competitive, and so I didn't want to, wait. And so I applied outwards. I actually want to apply to HPU, and fortunately, I had to dedicate like about a year for the general ed prereqs, but it was worth it. And it does cost a lot of money. It's a private university, but you get after you do all your general prereqs, you do finish in 2 years with your BSN.
For me, it was actually the time frame in the cost. So this is not my first degree. I have another degree, undergraduate degree, and that was my issue that Michaelyn actually helped a lot with me. So financial aid is a big issue if you're going to school a second time around. You can't get FAFSA, and it's really hard for you to get financial aid, and also time frame. So KCC's ADN program is only 4 semesters, and you can take your licensure after, and you can also work as a nurse once you get your license, which I am doing too. And then you can finish your BSN automatically. You get automatic acceptance either into Manoa or Hilo. But Hilo is more online, and then Manoa is now offering online. Before it used to be in person.
I had kind of a similar story to her also. I wanted to stick with KCC just because it was so affordable. It took me a very long time though to finish the prereqs. I applied to the ADN twice, and I was also waitlisted twice. And so I decided to go ahead and do the LPN route, and then you can transition into the ADN. Like I said, it will take more time, but it'll save you money in the long run. So I guess it just depends what your personal goal is.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to avoid the T's high score. That's in my HPU's 70%. We can do that. Yeah.
You don't need ATIs for Chaminade either.
Girl, your tuition is 35,000.
But
I would have to sell
no, that's the
everything I
thing.
have.
No, financial aid. I have applied to so many scholarships. Michaelyn and Puna know that. They were on my recommendation letters. Thank you very much. And if I did not get financial aid, oh my God, I would have applied to KCC again and probably like skipped a year of schooling and just waited till I got in.
See, that's
So I
hard because
feel
then
you
they
on
say
that.
it looks bad when you have a gap. Some of them, like when I inquired, they're like, oh, some some of the schooling, when you have a gap in like the semesters, they kind of like think they'd rather have someone that's kind of in there in that whole mindset still. But then Chaminade, you have to do the whole 4 years, right?
So they offer an accelerated program, but that is throughout the summer, which is more expensive, I believe, because there's not much scholarships for summer. I think KCC was the only school that actually gave free courses over summer. I don't think Chaminade does that.
Okay. I have one more question. Sorry. Pharmacology 203 is killing me. Is that what nursing school is like?
Absolutely.
Oh, I was hoping you say no.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I will be honest with you. To go back to what you said about the breaks, no, it does not matter. I graduated with my degree in 2015. I worked in like 2-3 years, and I finally decided to go back to nursing and finish my nursing prereqs. I did most of them before, but I was just retaking classes basically, and pharm was actually one of them. So I know we're not supposed to say this, and I'm sorry, Michaelyn and Puna, but they say if you take it at LCC, it's easier than KCC because their teacher is a little bit more lenient. And I know we're not supposed to look for the easy A's, but you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. KCC's teacher is really good, but he's hard. But he teaches you how the KCC teachers expect you to take your exams. So it's very similar to how nursing exams will be. And pharmacology is not going to be easy the first time around. It gets way easier throughout the semesters.
Yeah, I'm actually taking mine at LCC because I did my research. It's like, I ain't trying to die. But it's already clean. I think that's what's worrying me, is because it's like the easier of the options, but it's still hard. So how do you get through, how do you survive nursing? Like the whole, not nursing as doing nursing, but the whole nursing school altogether?
I want to say from my just being in nursing for my like first year, they stress a lot about making like networks or connections or having your study group. They say at Chaminade, they say no more than 4 people in your study group. So like just having those people to connect with, saying like, oh, did you do this assignment? Can we discuss our answers? And basically working together, because that's what you're going to do in the long run as a nurse. You're going to have a team to work with.
I agree. Having friends and having a group helps a lot. I was always that kind of person that studied by myself. So in the beginning, at first, I kind of struggled the first semester. And before, I was a pretty good student. So when I came to nursing school, it was kind of like an eye opener. It's like, oh, okay, I have to relearn how to study and find out what's effective for me. So I started to make friends, and we made a group and we would study together. Really teaching each other. If you understand a concept and someone else doesn't, it helps a lot, because when you are able to explain something, you are also teaching yourself. You're reinforcing that concept with yourself. Oh, hey, you know, it's this answer because it's, you know, we do this with the patient or da 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 da. And then you're like, oh, okay. So you're reinforcing your memory with other people as you guys talk it out. And so doing that helps a lot. And then even if you guys laugh, even make it funny, it also helps reinforce the memory too, because, you know, you're going to associate, oh, I remember so-and-so saying this when we were reviewing. And it does help.
In addition to that, so for me, I started off the nursing program during COVID. So everything was online, and I kind of feel like it was really bumming out because we didn't get to really have that classmate experience to join groups and everything. So for me, I kind of did it alone for a little bit, but reaching out to like your teachers and classmates. Luckily, I knew at least 2 people in my nursing program who I had taken prereqs with before. Also, I mean, if you're able to, if you know like what kind of specialty you're interested in or just want experience, I recommend to like get a job in any part of the healthcare field, even if it's like a ward clerk or like secretary. Being in the environment, you observe so much and you've like taken a lot of information that later on, like when you start nursing classes, it kind of will click together. So it just depends what is best for you, but I recommend trying to get a job prior to if you can.
I have a question. So I know a couple of you said that you guys had to apply twice to the ADN program and you folks were on waitlist. Would you folks, I mean, I know if I was like, would you have any other recommendations as far as going through like the CNA or the LPN program? I know it's gonna be longer, but might be easier to get in.
I want to touch on that one. And I preach this to everybody that I always felt so discouraged that I didn't get into the ADN program at first. But then honestly, looking back, I'm so glad I did the CNA and LPN program because it allowed me to get hired as an LPN and work as an LPN while working on my RN. So I got a lot of experience because especially in nursing facilities, you learn a lot of your skills. You and the RN do the same thing. And initially, I was able to come into Kaiser as an LPN. They don't hire as much RN, so to slide in as an LPN was such a great opportunity. And then they eventually just took me as an RN because I was already working there. So it does take longer, but I don't regret it. And I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I learned a lot, definitely. A lot more opportunities for me.
Like how long can I ask? Was it like 5,
I think
6
it set me back.
years?
No, oh, no, not that young. I think it set me back at least maybe an extra 1.5 or 2. But I also, thanks to scholarships and staying at KCC and the help of the Kūlia program and things like that, I can say that I have 0 debt from nursing school. And I had so much like LPN experience that got me into Kaiser as LPN. So I would say it's not a bad thing. Like I'm happy it played out the way it did. As long as you have the extra 1.5 or 2 to spare, I guess. I was at KCC a long time, a good long time.
Okay.
So I'd say go for it.
So I heard somebody say they're working 3 jobs. How do you, 3 part-time jobs, but how do you work and do school at the same time?
That was me. So prior to nursing, I started out with the ENT program. So I have that job and that's part-time. So luckily I was able to take classes for nursing school while working. Later on, as I started as a CNA, I got a job at Queens on the cardiac ICU floor. And with that, I was like mind blown because I learned a lot about time management and how to work on the floor. After that, after a year, I got into the nursing program at HPU, and then I started working part-time as a per diem at Alumni ICU as a tech. And so I feel like just having the part-time flexibility, if you're able to get into those positions, really helps. And they are very understanding most of the time because you're in school, and if you're wanting to work there, they'll probably take you in as an RN later on. So if you're able to do it, like I highly recommend it also because you get a lot of experience.
That's awesome.
I think that's a good idea too. She said, I have 2 classmates who are ER techs the whole time we were in nursing school, and we all graduated together, and they just got hired as RNs in the ER that they were techs at. So it's a great way to go too.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Can you guys share a little bit about if you could go back before you were into the nursing program, what would be something that you wish you had known about it before getting into the nursing program.
It's gonna fly by and it's gonna be so worth it. All the stress and studying and sorry, I can't make it, I have to study. Things you have to tell your friends. Just keep studying for those prereqs because it'll really benefit you. And consider the alternate routes like the CNA, LPN to RN route or other schools, things like that. The KCC doesn't have to be the end all.
One thing I would say is I wish I wanted to do nursing sooner. For one, two, don't be afraid to try new opportunities. Like it was mentioned earlier, you know, get a CNA job, get any kind of job, secretary job, ward clerk. Keep looking. If you don't already work in the medical field, keep looking. There's a lot of like jobs on Craigslist for medical assistants, no experience. That's what I started off with in 2015. And from there, I just knew that I wanted to do nursing. And when I was in nursing school, after my first semester, I got into Queens. So that's why I work as an on-call ER tech. And I am also an RN at the Plaza. So don't be afraid to take any opportunity that comes at you.
I agree with Marissa. I wish I knew I wanted to do nursing sooner. I would have saved a lot of money and a lot of time. But I think just knowing that I know it's expensive and you know it takes your time, but it's really up to you and what you're able to. I mean, I'm not the type of person who wanted to go out of KCC or the UH system, honestly. But for myself, I didn't want to wait, and I felt like I gotta just, you know, take out the student loans, apply to as many financial aid and scholarship as possible, and, you know, start working during if I can, and then after, I think it'll pay off.
I also just want to add, definitely, just not to compare your timeline to anybody else's. So I took the same CNA course with some people, and some of them got in ahead of me into the ADN, and I felt really discouraged, but just don't compare your timeline. It's okay to retake things. I took the T's 3 times to up the score. Just keep trying, I'd say.
Yes, what Alana said, like there's so many different pathways you can take. It's really what fits best for you. And there's, you know, we have experience of different pathways. So whatever works for you, honestly.
I want to ask too, I mean, there's people that are not on here that I've had discussions with, so I'm kind of going to ask for them, but also, so I'm hearing this a similar story, right? So multiple, I think Chastity asked it, right? Multiple times, maybe not getting in multiple times on the wait list. And so therefore you kind of choose a different path. But can you guys speak to the, I guess, the anxieties? I mean, Alana kind of said, right, she was very discouraged. So I think a lot of students experience that, obviously, like you did. What kept you guys going? Like, can you guys speak to that resilience piece or that piece to keep moving forward? Because I think that can be discouraging for many.
One of the things that I want to highlight would be to know why you're doing what you're doing. Like my goal throughout school in general is to have a support system for my future family when I have kids. And that's what I'm doing it for, to support myself when I'm older, because I've seen my parents struggle. But I also think that balancing your life out is very important. Like, I don't know if this is good advice, but this is what keeps me going. Even though I have a bunch of work to do, if I'm super overwhelmed or super stressed out, I take an hour out of that study time and go to the beach and jump in the water, because that just keeps me sane.
That's good advice.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
it's definitely.
Oh, go ahead, Alana.
No, go. No, I was just gonna say, just the whole being a pre-nursing student is very emotionally exhausting. I cried at every single rejection letter, all 3 of them. And I also cried when I got in finally. So it's an emotional roller coaster. And for me, I just kept telling myself, you know, you've already got this far. You did the prereq. Why don't you take one more? You know, you didn't come this far to only get that far. You just keep going, you know, just keep going.
Yeah, that's very true. Like I'll go to the beach too if I'm stressed. I think the main thing that got me to push myself out of my anxiety is, for me personally, I'm the type of person who tries to stay organized and have like a plan for things. And so it took me a while to kind of like map out, okay, like what is the best route for this and what am I willing to sacrifice for bettering myself and my future, you know, what you want, because your purpose is really important. And for me, like I came from a family who they got divorced and remarried, and so money isn't like what we really have, and so financial aid, scholarships, anything would really help. So it was like a big decision to make, to go to a university that is really expensive, but knowing that in the long run, after you start working, you know, you can make that money back and you have that experience and you're there and you can start working.
Alana, I wanted to touch back to what you were saying about your path, like how you went through the different paths, yeah. So like what kind of advice can you give to students who are trying to pick which nursing program they want to try and go to or get into?
Yeah, that was so hard for me because I didn't really understand even the concept of an LPN when I was a pre-nursing student. I just knew I wanted ADN. But yeah, like I said, looking back, I'm glad it worked out. And if I know what I know now what I knew then, I would have chosen that route, because by the time you get into the RN, first of all, it's easier to get into the LPN program. They take more students, it's just a little bit easier. And then you can transition. It's a little easier to transition into the RN program. And like they were saying, you could just go straight into UH, Hilo, or Manoa. But the benefit was when we joined in with the ADN program, all the LPNs had a lot more floor experience. We were all much more comfortable. It's easier to get a job as an LPN, I'd say, because it's kind of similar work to RN, but you're half the price of an RN pay-wise. Yeah, you learn so much. I learned so much being an LPN. I'm glad that I was able to get into different companies, and overall, I think it just made me a stronger, confident nurse. Like that's just me personally. Just the more experience. Yeah, it's an extra 1.5 years of school, but extra 1.5 years of more experience, and just easier to get in if you're worried about, especially about costs, because KCC is cheaper and it'll save you money in the long run. But like I said, if you have the time and the patience to do that extra 1.5 years. So I encourage the LPN program, 100%. Nursing students, go for it.
I'm more like, whatever will take me in, I'm going.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, the teas is what's killing me. And I know like the teas, they say it's not even as hard as a school, and it's not as hard as like the pharmacology class. It's just so much old stuff from like the beginning to remember. So
I feel like
remember
that's
that each
definitely
time.
yeah. So I'm very thankful that Kūlia, thank you for reimbursing me for my many of teas tries that will be coming up. But yeah.
I wanted
just
to
keep taking
say,
it.
I feel like that's something that I wish somebody told me, is that what's on the teas is going to help you in the long run. Because right now in the nursing program, we are prepping for the NCLEX. And I think that's similar to the teas, just a lot harder. So if you use your studying for the ATIs, that'll help you in the long run.
That's another thing, sorry. For the ATI program, I know Chaminade uses it. Did KCC and UH use that also? Because right now at HPU, I feel like our cohort was the guinea pigs. We started out to use Kaplan. It's like a test prep, and it's supposed to help prep you for like the NCLEX and everything.
Oh, KCC loves the ATI Teens program and the tests, the practice tests. You'll live and breathe that as a KCC nursing student. You'll handwrite all your remediations. You'll live through the ATI Teens program.
So can I touch on that, the ATI test? How did you folks study for it? Like, I know, I don't know, yeah, I've heard like you guys maybe have study groups or alone. What kind of works for you guys?
For me, it was kind of hard because you would go through the semester, actual your own classes, and then I would tell myself, okay, I'm gonna take the last month of the semester to study for it. But I think just looking back at my old notes for like math and science on my nursing like prereq classes helped. And I also bought the ATI manual and also taking practice test questions online. That really helped.
Yeah,
How?
I think
No, go to, yeah.
I bought the manual as well, and it has questions at the back of each chapter that you can test yourself, and then it has the answers on the back of the book. I used that, and I know my friend, she bought like they offer packages on the ATI website, so I would just look through that. I got the cheapest one because I don't have a lot of money, but I still passed my ATI test.
Yeah, I think I used a study book also directly from the same company, like a practice workbook also. I highlighted, made notes, practice tests too, like they were saying.
I swear a lot of what's in the book is not even like the test has more stuff than the book. Like the test goes more elaborate than that ATIT's book. Like that's just like a general. At least that's what it was for me.
I was gonna ask, everyone retook it more than once, right? Like current, and did you improve like the next time? Like as you continue to take it? Tia, no.
No.
It went up and down.
My score went up, yeah.
Brittany's saying up and down and Tia said no. So I guess it's not consistent. It sounds like.
Well, I think my excuse was I was really studying for that first one. And then when I got an 80% my first time, and I wanted to retake it because I thought, oh, that's not good enough for KCC's nursing program. So I spent another $130, is it? And I don't know if I was less serious about studying for it because I thought, oh, I took it already. I kind of got the hang of it. So I went in and I got a 76%, I think. Yeah.
Marissa also said, sorry, Marissa's driving, so she's typing. She said, I also did practice tests online. I did, but I did worse the second time. I think it's worthy to note that KCC's average acceptance score is 86%, from what the counselors told me. Thanks, Marissa.
Yeah, and HPU is lower, correct? 70 something?
Yeah, I think the minimum is 70. But I
Someone
know people who even
doesn't
got
take
more
it.
than that and they still didn't
Get
get
into
in.
HPU?
Yeah, which is
Oh.
weird. Like they'll get waitlisted.
And
And
it
the
kind of
ADN
helps too. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, Alana and Marissa, the ADN transition, do you need to score the actual Manoa scores, or it's the transition is without, like if you were to apply directly to UH Manoa, they have all those separate scores, right, for each section. You don't need to read that, right?
No.
You're in the transition. Okay.
I think I started with a 78 and then by the time I took it the third time, it went up to like an 85, but that was the score I got waitlisted at. If that kind of helps put it in perspective for people. So my 85 T's got me waitlisted twice to the ADN program, and then got me into the LPN on the first try. So if that kind of helps people see. where LPN to ADN transition. So
Marissa said, yep, no extra tests for the transition. But for UH Hilo, you need to take your NCLEX prior to applying.
For the transition? Sorry, Marissa. Not the regular application though, right? I'll see if she applies.
Just
Oh,
the transition
okay.
from ADN. Thanks, Marissa. So I guess about the application process. Can you guys share like a little bit about it and what was maybe some of the things, like some complications, or I don't know, anything about how that went for you folks?
I'll go first. HPU is very specific with their classes. Michaelyn helped me a lot. And I forget her name, but one of the academic counselors from HPU helped me. There are classes at KCC that you can take that's compatible with like the general ed prereqs to go HPU. The only thing is like if you don't already have it, for me, I had to dedicate a year just to do those. So that's one thing that needs to be done, just making sure you have all the classes. As for the rest, once you have all the classes that you need, everything kind of falls in line, like your T's, getting your recommendation letters, and then writing a personal statement.
What about everybody else?
I think KCC was pretty straightforward about the prereqs and the application process. The counselors are very helpful. They're not lying when you say you really need like really good grades to get into KCC. And again, just sharing to help other students see it from a different perspective. Like I got waitlisted with 1B in pharmacology and everything else was an A. And so I still got waitlisted. So that's how competitive KCC is, if that helps people.
And the 85 T's, right?
And the 85, yeah. Still waitlisted with 1A and 85.
Wow.
But here I am.
That's awesome.
Everyone applied to KCC at some point. It's just, so I think I want to add on to that question, like how did you decide for the others that are not at KCC? Like how did you choose which school? Because I know, so for example, if someone's ready to apply for a bunch, but all of them, like Brittany mentioned, right, HP has specific courses they need, and then Manoa has specific classes they need, and KCC has specific classes. Did you guys like try to take all of them, or did you just focus, like pick one and then go for that? I don't know if that makes sense.
I think at first I started to just go towards the KCC program, and then I started to get rejected, and I was like, okay, what are my other options? And that's when I started to look, and I realized how specific HPU was. I did try for Chaminade classes also, but I know they're a little longer, so I wanted to go to the 2-year route. So that's what made me make that decision.
I was also focused on just KCC's prereqs, but then luckily after I got waitlisted and I was looking at other options, a lot of my prereqs transferred over to Chaminade. So technically I'm a year ahead of my cohort because I don't have to take all their general classes that they're taking. But at the same time, it's a little bit more confusing for me because I have to minor in something. So I have to pick up another major to stay at full time.
So knowing what you folks know now in the sense of like each school has different requirements, right, to get in, would you have adjusted like your prereq courses at KCC and thrown in some of those other classes to increase your odds at other schools too?
Not necessarily for Chaminade, at least, because I was focused on KCC's prereqs, but all of those that I took, you needed those at Chaminade, so it just transferred over.
Yeah, I was kind of more focused on KCC program classes, but once I made that decision that I was gonna go straight ahead to HBU, I just looked up all of the classes that I needed, and
So throughout your guys' whole process, can I ask, I mean, how long were each of you in school? I guess from start to end, some of you are already in the field as nurses. Yeah.
For me, so I went to the EMT program. Well, I started going to KCC right after high school, which was 2014, 15. And I think up until now, it's been about 6 years since I've been in school.
Her route, but you gotta keep in mind the route, right? So like Brittany's goal was EMT first, so she did EMT and then was a EMT and then decided, so then started, she had to actually retake a bunch of stuff because the requirements weren't the same, right? Like remember we had the bio one, you had to like retake anatomy.
Yeah, I had to retake the bio. So I originally just took it to get into like the paramedic program, but then I took zoology, but now I think it's called something else.
The physiology 141, 142, yeah.
Yes. Marissa said 6 years too.
But Marissa also, because like I speak for her, she had a bachelor's degree already in psych, right? So she had all her core done. So she just had to focus on the prereqs for nursing to get in. So Marissa, from start when you came back to completing now, that's 6 years. I just want to clarify. We'll see what she has to type. Oh.
She said yes, 2015.
She originally wanted the LPN, right? The nurse practitioner. Oh, that's right. She wanted to do GPN. Okay. That's another option if you come in with a bachelor's degree, is to go to the grad nursing, yeah, at Manoa.
Yeah.
So sorry, my headphones died. Was it how long we've been working or been in school working towards the nursing degree? Okay, sorry, my AirPod died. Yeah, I think 2015 too. And I'm still not done. I'm still at UH, but like they were saying, you can work along the way, which makes a big difference.
I'm in my 4th year of schooling, but when I first got into KCC, I was just in regular, like working for liberal arts. So I did get my associate's degree in that while working for prereqs in the nursing program. And if I were to say, I have 3 more years left for the RN program. So a total of, what is that? 7 years of schooling. I went straight into KCC after I graduated in 2018. But I think it would have been way faster if I did get into the KCC program, of course.
I kind of wanted to go back. It was Leilani's question a while ago about the gap. So I think I just want to clarify, like, I don't know if what they're not looking for, because Marissa contradicted it too, right? Said like it doesn't matter about the gap. So I think when the gap, people might be thinking about the gap in maybe just your transcript or like, I don't know, I'm guessing, in general. But if you're trying to get in, there's like, what did you guys do? Maybe Alana more so. Because if you didn't get in a few times, what were you doing for each semester you didn't get in, and then you decided LPN, right? So like what occurred in that time period while you're waiting, I guess, or like keeping up to apply?
There was a semester where I talked to the counselors and they advised me to just start working on my UH requirements, so my bachelor requirements. So that took up some time. And there was a year gap, almost a year gap between getting into LPN or finishing the LPN and starting the RN program. So during that time, almost a year gap, but I just worked as an LPN and until I got in. So I was done with class. I could work full time and kind of make some money back. So that was nice. Yeah, I think that was it mostly. But even with that gap, that still looks good on, I want to say, it just looks good on your resume to say that you worked as a nurse, you know, even as an LPN, trying to get into other positions too.
I think I know another student too, because I didn't even talk to her for a while, and then all of a sudden she was back. So I think she had kept applying, though she wasn't at KCC at all, and then got in. So she was working though in the medical field. I think she's in admissions or something, like admin. So again, maybe it does give you points to be working in the field. I'm not sure quite how their admissions points works, but it seems that it's looked upon favorably.
Yeah, KCC really, if you are going to take the LPN to RN route, it really kind of drags it out because you graduate your LPN. Next semester, you have to take one more course before you can apply to transition. And so that's already one more semester. Then you apply for the following semester. So it's like a big year, but it's okay. You're getting experience in between, working as, you know, techs, CNAs, clerks, anything.
I think Marissa supported that as well, yeah, in her chat. So she said they do give extra points, so. I just realized, I don't know, I think the 4 panelists, and I'm making an assumption, but from what I know of you guys, none of you have like families, your own families and children, correct? So I think our 2 students might be in that situation. So even though you don't have, if you've known people who did, do you have advice for them for that, balancing with family and their own children?
I have one of my friends in my study group. She has a child, and then another one has 3 children, but they're kind of like middle school age to high school. And I think the biggest thing would be to work in groups, balance it out, and just try it as you go. Like my friend Zoli, she has a little one. I think he's 2 right now. She needs a definite like support family at home to watch him. She's just going as she goes. Like she's just trying it out. If she like can't handle it, she has that support who watches her kid to like keep her motivated. She also has like me as a friend to keep her motivated and help her out. I think it's just having that support system for you guys.
Yeah, I agree. Most of my classmates have at least 1 kid, but I don't have any kids yet. But I think just having the support system so that you are set to kind of plan out how you're gonna study, that's very important. And just making sure that it fits your schedule as much as possible, because once, you know, school starts, it's like, that's what you worked up to, that's what you're gonna do. And I think just knowing your purpose to keep you going is what's gonna help you along with it also.
Yeah, I think that's wise advice. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing all of that. Because I think sometimes it's obvious. I mean, you might think it it's an obvious thing, right? Just hang in there, like do it. But then it's hard to do once you're in it, right? Like, or when you're in the process, it's always hard to do. But I think I'm glad that you folks took the time out to share your experiences with us, because I don't know, I think it's inspiring, you know, like it's inspiring that you folks were able to do all these things given all the circumstances, you know, like COVID hit and you guys still were able to graduate and get into nursing programs and still navigate all of that navigation and all of that stuff. There's so much stuff, right? Like, and then all these different paths that you can take. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. We are, right now we have 4 minutes left to the hour. I wanna make sure that we be mindful of your times. So do you folks, is there any other questions that, or any other advice that maybe the panel wanna offer for us before we wrap up?
I just want to say, I don't know if you guys are religious, but praying also helps me just gather my thoughts and give me more motivation when I feel really low, because nursing is so stressful. It's normal to break down at least twice a week. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd say, just as a finishing note for me, just take it one step, one class, one exam, one prereq at a time, and just be resilient. Just keep trying, getting yourself out there.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And honestly, once you get into the program, no matter how long it's been, no matter what you sacrifice, you're going to be like, okay, you know, this is it, and ready to start your journey there. And it's going to be so worth it. So just don't give up. If you know you really want to do it, just keep at it. And if you guys have any questions regarding like HP or anything, you can ask Michaelyn or Puna, and you can reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I just want to say, I don't know if these people, are you guys in Kūlia, Kapiʻolani, and Kapo'oloku?
Yes.
I know Leilani is.
Chas is saying no. No.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for the other one yet. Yeah, but I
think
know
you
about it.
should. Yeah, you definitely should, because it really helped me build a foundation of motivation and strength to get me where I am.
Thank you, Tia. All right, I think this is, I think we are at the end mark. So I just want to say mahalo again for our panelists for coming in, sharing your time with us, sharing your experiences. You guys shared some really valuable tips and information for our future pre-nursing students. Yeah, so mahalo again, and I hope that our students can watch this video and get something out of it. Well, they will definitely get something out of it.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to know that it doesn't always work out on your first try, because that's where I'm at, where it's discouraging. But that you'll get there. So thank you, because that motivates me.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks guys for your time.
All right, it's 6 o'clock and I will thank you so much. And our class is dismissed.
Thank you.
Our virtual classroom.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you,
Take care.
panelists. Mahalo so much. Oh, they left. I was gonna see if they want to talk. Oh, recording.
Wait.